Hi guys, it's John from Android Addicts, and today we're going to be looking at the Aeroactive Cooler 3 for the Asus Rog Phone 3. So this little fan comes in at around $50 to $75 currently. I managed to get mine for about $40 added on when I bought the actual phone itself. So they do vary in price quite a lot. Mine was from aliexpress.com, but obviously they are available elsewhere as well. So what I wanted to do is actually just test to see whether this is actually worth buying or not. Is it really going to cool your phone down that much? Are the additional features something you really need for the Asus Rog Phone? I mean, you're already going to be spending a fair amount of money on the phone itself, so what difference will this cooler make to you? So the cooler itself is pretty well made. It feels quite solid and it fits onto the phone nicely with this little clamp here, so that just clips up and down. You've got the Republic of Gamers RGB text on the front there, which you can change the colour of. We'll look at that a bit later. And you also have the RGB Rog logo on the back there. This is the fan itself. It's not on at the moment, I've turned it off, but we'll go through a few different tests and we'll just see how it performs. So it connects with the accessory port here. As you can see, we have a USB-C port on the left and the sort of bespoke accessory port here on the right. And what this basically does is it has sort of aluminium plate here which draws away the heat with the use of this handy little fan here away from your phone to keep it cool when you're playing games or stressing in some other way. So it says it can cool it down by 4 degrees or up to 4 degrees, so we'll be testing that out. The other thing this does add to your phone is a handy 3.5mm headphone socket and the pass-through USB-C port here to support 30-watt charging. So you're not actually losing a port when you plug this into your phone, you're actually gaining a 3.5mm jack, and you can still use USB-C for your fast charging. As you can see here on the back, we have a little pull-out stand which lets you place it down on a table, and you can then put your phone down and play a game, you know, with a Bluetooth controller or something, which is quite handy as well. So that's quite a nice little additional extra there. They didn't have to put that in, but that's quite nice. And then it just folds up nicely like this for storage. And the other little feature I want to mention here is this section here at the top. Now I was a bit confused as to what this was for. I just thought it was part of the way it was made, the manufacturing process, but it's actually to store something quite valuable, and that is the little dust cover that you remove from your phone to be able to access this port in the first place. So the dust cover looks like this, and it's basically just a small little sort of rubber bung that you can put in and out of the phone to keep this port safe and free from dust. But when you have this available, we can then store the cover in there for safekeeping, and then it won't fall out or anything and you won't lose it. So that's quite a nice little handy little storage device there for your bung. So as you probably saw in the unboxing video, it's quite easy to pop into your phone. You simply connect the bottom port. Once you're in, clip it down. You'll get a message here saying that the fan will be disabled if you're on a phone call or doing a voice recording, which is fine. You wouldn't want the fan noise interrupting your calls, obviously, so that's a good little feature. So when you have X mode enabled, you can go into the console section here, and then you can set the fan speed and settings for the system lighting, which affects the front and the back RGB lights. But we're only interested in the fan speed for the time being. What I'm going to do is turn the fan on whilst it's in this view so we can actually see it spin up. And that's it really. It's not very loud on the automatic settings. You can adjust it and set it to full speed. If I hold this up by the microphone, you may hear the sound coming from the fan. This is on high. And that's on low. So I'm going to leave it on auto for the moment, and what we're going to do is some stress tests through Antutu, and we'll just see what the results are with the fan on, with the fan off, and at various different speed levels to see whether this is worth your money. So the main area that it is cooling is the center piece here at the back. Right, for the first test we're going to have X mode on, and we're going to go into Antutu benchmark, and we're going to run a brand new stress test and see what we get. So currently the phone temperature is 27 degrees. This is just an idle state that it's in, and that's what it is currently running at. So we're going to do it without the fan on, and we'll just see exactly how well the phone cools in its own right without the fan. So this takes about 15 minutes, so I'm going to skip through this as you don't want to sit and watch this, it's quite boring. And then we'll put the fan on and we'll see what difference, if any, it makes. Okay, the test has just finished and you can see we've gone up to 38 degrees Celsius in temperature. Now the phone is quite warm at the back, and if we have a look at the stress results here, we can just have a look through what has actually happened. So this is with the fan off, and the battery temperature here, which went up, as you can see, a fair amount. Let's see, it started off at what, 29 and went up to about 38, 39. Yeah, so nearly 38 degrees. So 37.8 starting from 28.8. So yeah, it went up 10 degrees. So what we want to do now is we're going to attach the fan on, we're going to leave it on auto, and we're going to just see how much difference the fan can make. So I'm going to give the phone time to cool down back to around 28 degrees. Right, we're back down to 27 degrees. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the fan is set to auto, and we're going to run through the same test now, and we'll see how it gets on. Whether this does make a big difference or not, we'll hopefully find out after the test. Okay, the test has literally just finished, so we're going to go into the X mode console and just see. We're actually at 40 degrees here, so compared to the previous test where we got to just 38 degrees, the system temperature has actually increased. So let's just have a look at the results. Okay, so even though the system temperature has gone up, I just want to compare these two tests. So this one here is with the fan on. Now if you look at the CPU performance, we're hovering just under 80% CPU, and the clocks of the cores inside the CPU are all pretty equal, aren't they? Now if we go back to the original test, this is without the fan on, the CPU is throttling quite a lot. So I think what we're actually seeing here is that the fan is doing its job, allowing the phone to, as we can see, stay at a higher performance percentage here, because it's able to be kept cooler overall, rather than here with the fan off where we have this fluctuation. So in that sense, it is doing what we want it to do. Now obviously it still gets warmer, the system temperature itself. So if we look at the battery temperature here with the fan on, it starts at 28 and it goes up to just over 36. So that's only an 8 degree difference compared to the 10 degree difference we saw with the fan off. So what I'm going to do now is just do another test with the fan off, and we'll just see if we see the same throttling here of the CPU that we saw in the first test. And if we do, then we know that the fan's doing a good job. If not, it could just be an anomaly, but we'll find out very shortly. Okay, so the test has literally just finished. The phone's feeling pretty hot on the back again. So let's just go back into X mode, see what the system temperature is. So okay, the system temperature has gone up to 42 degrees. And as we can see on the results here, again, you can see the CPU here is throttling quite a bit, and it's actually throttling more. You see it's going down to 60% at times compared to the first test. So I think what we've seen here is that when the phone has warmed up to a sort of high performance temperature, it does indeed struggle without the fan being on. So looking at the battery temperature here, we've gone from what, 33.5 to 36.5. That's actually not a huge increase this time, but obviously as the phone is being used through each test, it is, you know, staying at a higher temperature. But what I will do now is actually rerun the test with the fan on and at full blast, and we'll see if it makes much of a difference at all. So I'm going to rerun it straight away after the previous test. I'm not going to wait for it to cool down, and we'll just see whether the fan full blast can cope and keep the CPU going at a consistent rate. Okay, so the test has just finished, and we can see a very similar result here with the CPU performance, hovering around sort of just below 80% for a lot of the test here, peaking at 100%, and you can see the clocks here for each core are also doing very well. So if we have a look at the battery temperature, it actually looks, it's done quite well here. So we can see started at around 30, let's zoom in a bit more, 38.5, and we can see it's gone down a bit here, and it's then popped back up here to 38.5. So it's actually stayed at the same temperature from the start and the end of the test. It actually went back. So well, it did increase a bit in the end. We can probably correlate that with the CPU performance if we wanted to. But yeah, I think what we can see here is that the fan definitely does help the performance of the phone. Now, is it just that the phone knows that there's a fan attached, so it doesn't throttle the CPU so much? Is it because it knows it can feel, you know, that the temperature is not overheating too much, so it can go higher? I think it's probably the first suggestion, that it knows that there's a fan plugged in, so it knows it can perform better or perform more than if there wasn't a fan plugged in. So yes, if you do want to be able to get the maximum performance out of your phone, then this is a requirement. So the only complaint I have about this is the fact that the ports are down on the bottom here, so the headset and the USB-C port. So if you have it in the sort of stand mode here, and you're going to be playing a game, you can't exactly plug your headset or your USB charging cable in the bottom here because it's down at the bottom. So I think what they could have done is maybe put those on the side. So it maybe could have been a bit more squared off at the bottom here, and you could have had a headset jack over there, maybe the USB-C over there. I don't think it would have worked going into the back. I mean, it may have done. Let's just get headset cable here, and actually, yeah, it would have gone in, as you can see here, from the back. So they could have actually put those in the back, and then you'd have had, you know, access to the ports like that, which would be much better. Maybe move this up a bit, and then yeah, have your USB-C and your headset jack at the back next time, so that you can still sit with it like this without having to hold the phone, and then you've got your headset plugged in, you've got your charger plugged in, and you're not having to worry. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. I have now enabled channel memberships. If you want to join the channel, you can get exclusive perks when you do so, so check those out by clicking the join button. And again, that really helps support the channel. Anything I get from any memberships will be going straight back into the channel, so I can do more reviews and just more videos for you guys. So again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one.